Energy here, brother.
That's
So
right.
Mayhem.
We better pick it up because you're dragging back there.
We were
What's up,
dragging a
everybody?
little bit, brother. Dragging a little bit. It's okay. You know what? Hey, today is Mayhem Monday. Let's pick the topic live on air and help you get past the week and get into a new groove that's going to be productive and super, super duper results. That was horrible, DJ.
Listen.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
All right. Well, I had to stand because I wasn't feeling.
I think you were starting to fall asleep on screen. No, I'm just.
I
will tell you though,
I
when you
wasn't
said
feeling the
super
energy
duper,
below.
in my head, I knew you were searching for a word, and I was trying to think of what word is he gonna say.
What word goes with super duper? Well, as soon as I said super duper, you know, in your head, good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Antoine.
She likes
Lisa,
super duper results.
Super duper results. There we go. You know, when you're actually, so we got a winner here this morning, Lisa, by 2 seconds on Mr. Jeff this morning. So
on mine, I still 1 second. So good job.
Yeah. So I never really think about the intros. It's just kind of we start talking and I come up with something on the fly. And as soon as super duper came out of my mouth, holy doodle, what the hell's wrong with you, dude? Like, really? Did you just say super duper live on air? Like, I feel like, oh my God, super duper. It's awesome.
So we call Cooper super duper Cooper. So
see, now that works. That works, brother. That is a good handle. I like that. He's got to take that with
He's got to own that one. He's got to figure out some path to take that down.
Did I tell you I met a fire chief? So a good buddy of mine, he's one of the highest chiefs at the airport. Mm-hmm. And obviously knows most of his friends are firefighters. And I met this one guy, really, really awesome guy. And he was a chief for, I'm thinking it's Guelph, but I could be wrong. And his kid's name was River. And I go, your kid's name's River. And I met his son. He goes, yeah. I go, that is an awesome handle. He goes, yeah, I figured I'd name him something that he really had to live up to. I'm like, okay, that's how you want to choose a name. He goes, he goes like, yes, a dude named River, like, because one of his favorite actors was River Phoenix. Yes. He goes like, he can't be a dud. He's got to be something. And he goes, and I keep telling him that. I'm like, all right, well, hey man, however you want to play it, but you got to think of that. You got to live up to that name. That's pretty cool. But
I agree.
So, brother, good morning, Jeff. We see you there, brother.
Yeah, morning, everybody.
So I don't know about you, but holy crap, did we have a beautiful weekend for weather? Oh,
yes.
Finally. And woke up this morning and it was like 17 degrees cooler. Like it was like, what the hell's wrong with Mother Nature now?
Cold.
But super cold.
Yeah,
and rainy.
Super duper cold.
Super duper cold. That's gonna live on, isn't it? I have a feeling that's gonna live on. I
love it.
So how was the weekend, brother?
It was good. It was good, man. Just enjoyed the weather. A lot of enjoying weather. We've been dying. We've been cabin fever over here. So the kids having a 5 and a 2-year-old is pretty tough to entertain in the house. There's only so many forts and only so much hide and seek that could happen. So
why were you guys like raining or something on the weekend?
No. It was great. It was great weather here. So we were out all weekend. Oh yeah.
Oh,
any chance we could be out, we were out at the water or the park or somewhere. So
yeah. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so you mean like before the weekend?
Before that. Oh yeah.
Leading up to. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I can. You know what? I even like during the lockdowns and stuff. Families that had little children, like I felt for them because I mean I have big kids, and I was going stir crazy. Like I couldn't imagine little kids, but yeah, crazy. Sorry about the Leafs. Let's go Rangers. You know, so here's the thing, gents.
He brought it in already.
No. It's all good. I'm not a Leafs fan, and I know people are going to be like, oh, put him on a stake. I'm not. I'm not. I don't really have a hockey team that I cheer for.
Really?
Probably one of the only Canadians you'll ever find that really doesn't watch hockey.
Yeah.
I got into hockey when my son was playing hockey, only so I can have conversation with him about hockey and kind of chill with him and my daughter and my wife and watch a hockey game because my son's a huge hockey fan. And you know, it's interesting because I mean, trust me, I understand choking. You know, I've played sports my whole life. I've watched my team choke. I've watched myself choke and not really understand where it's coming from.
I have the greatest
But
story of that ever.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. So my
Go ahead.
buddy made a Leafs jersey that says Heimlich on the back because they choke so much. He made a Leafs jersey that says Heimlich. So like we have a lot of friends that are huge Leaf fans. Like one of our friends, his wife said, you know, I would never want to ask him who he loves more, me or the Leafs, because I'm afraid of the answer. Like that big of Leaf fans. And you know what? I think this year, and again, I'm not a hockey analyst, so all y'all don't call me out on anything because I'm just saying I'm sharing what I've seen.
I can't even skate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could skate, but I got to hit boards to kind of stop, kind of thing, right? But I think this year they did better than they've ever done. See, every other year, all I remember is them choking, like having a huge lead and choking. This was a battle back and forth. And I think game 4, when they had their heads up their ass and they didn't do what they should have done, I think that's where they lost the series, in all honesty. You can blame the officiating, you can blame refs, whatever. I mean, so anyways, that's just my opinion. But listen, we still have a bunch of Canadian teams. Yeah, we have a bunch of Canadian teams still in it. I know Edmonton, I think Edmonton won their game. Did Edmonton win their game, gents? Flames, I guess, did.
Flames.
So. Go Flames. So yeah, I guess they did. I think Jeff says go Rangers. Of course, buddy. Of course you're going to go Rangers, man. Wow. Now, and Rangers got a great goalie too.
He's going to represent there.
So yeah, I mean, for me, Ryan, Leafs suck. So it's, you know what? It's a love-hate in Ontario, I guess. A majority of them love them. When you're going to pay like $400 for a seat up in the nosebleeds, you got to love the team you're going for. It's Edmonton versus that would be a series. Yes, that's a cool series because Edmonton, Oilers go, Flames goo. You see, hockey is it like this in football in the US, DJ? Like
I'll tell you, it's like it with football a little bit, but college football, especially down south, you go down south, college football. I worked in Alabama for a little bit, and my in-laws are from Louisiana, so I kind of became an LSU fan. I actually fell in love with the Mad Hatter first, so but down there, oh man, you walk into a house. I was doing in-home sales. You walk into a house, they'll look at you and they'll say Bama or Auburn, and I'm like, I don't like sports, like because they will call you out, and it's either Alabama or Auburn in Alabama, and like, I mean, some people have rooms just. These two sisters, they live together, which I love that, by the way. Shout out to the sisters, but they live together and they had a whole room dedicated to just Alabama football. I mean, the whole room.
My brother-in-law had an entire room dedicated to the Leafs.
Like an entire room. Possibly think of was Alabama. It was in that room.
Yeah, he had like a seat to the old arena that Leafs used to play in. He had a seat. It was crazy. I remember walking in for the first time. I'm like, holy crap, do you like hockey? He's like, no, Leafs. I'm like, oh, so hockey. No, Leafs. And I'm like, okay. But they play hockey, right? So, yeah.
Antoine, you're right, though. Cleveland teams, yes. Well, listen, when I heard you talking, Dan, and I see it might even bother Ryan the same. I seen he said that Leafs sucks, and you said about choking. I think it's the same way I felt about the Browns, the love-hate relationship, because it feels like they get there and then like the hype, oh, they're gonna do great, and they don't, and they start doing good, and they don't, and it's just this choke city over and over again. That it's like, fuck.
Here's something that I heard on Q107. So it's a classic rock station in Toronto, and John Derringer is the morning host. And so last week he says, so let me ask you this, okay, guys. So he goes, you have your kid, and he fails grade 8 12 times, right? And so here he is. He's 19 years old, and he's in grade 8. He says, do you plan the party before the report card? And I went, oh my God, that is such a good analogy. He goes, you don't plan his 19th time trying to pass grade 8 before he gets his report card. He goes, you just don't. He goes, so, because we were, when the Leafs were winning, it was like, it's always like this in Ontario, where it's like, oh, this is the year. This is the year. This is the year. And I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, they haven't even got past round one. Just slow down for a second, right?
Well, especially Browns. Listen, I mean, so I love the Indians and Guardians now, but Indians and the Cavs. But oh yeah, that's that's a great thing going on here in the U.S. Everybody, I'm Native American. I actually am. I'm not lying. 23andMe, it's in me. I do not care that they were called the Indians. I'm going to say that.
Well, what about the Chiefs? What about the Kansas City Chiefs? Are they still the Chiefs?
Yeah, they're still the Chiefs.
Why are they still the Chiefs?
We don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Oh, brother, yeah, no, we don't. Do you know they changed the national anthem, the Canadian national anthem?
What?
Because it was sexist or something, some bullshit. It was.
Oh my goodness!
Sorry, I shouldn't say it. Sorry, that's getting a little political. But yes, they changed the Canadian national anthem.
Yeah,
so when you start going there,
so I'm trying to pull it right out of there.
Yeah, so let's just pull it right out.
So, I did see we did start a choke job conversation. Yeah, I was going to say that right there.
Even the Phoenix Suns choke job last night was so amazing to see in real time. Yeah,
they choked bad. They choked bad.
Jeff says, in part French Canadian, however, no Leafs. Okay, off of the Leafs topic, opic of the idiots changing the national anthem and telling. Anyways, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I gotta add that last jab in, brother. You know what I'm saying? But okay, are you ready? So you ready? This seems to be a lot thicker than it ever used to be. So I hope that
you added a bunch.
Well, I did add a whack, but I mean, we're talking almost 2 inches thick here, gents.
Yeah. All right. What are we gonna?
All right. So you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. All right there. Right there. Oh, that looks
this one has a check mark too. So we did this February 14th on Sales Chatter. So we're gonna have to do this again.
We need a separate pod.
I need a Sales Chatter and then an Inception.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. What do we got?
Okay. Did we ever do this? What does strategy mean and how can it help or hurt?
Oh, no.
So I must have done this on Inception because I remember doing it, but don't matter. We'll do it here.
So let's do it.
What I thought was that about this was very interesting when I was thinking up this topic. I said, like we all watch the training videos. We all kind of, I'm going to better myself. At what point does it hurt our productivity? And at what point does over strategizing hurt what we're doing? And I started really thinking about that, DJ. And I said, what if we get, so I wrote down a couple of things here. What if we get hurt in being stuck in a strategy loop where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then you watch another video, oh my gosh, and then I'm going to do this. Oh my gosh, and then I'm going to do this. And come the end of the day, it's like, what did I really do? Now,
yes,
from a dopamine drip, from a serotonin drip, right? When we watch training videos, when we watch things where it's like, oh my God, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It feels like we're productive. Like just the mental side, the stimulation, all that feels like we're productive. But the results are what count at the end of the day in everything we do. I don't care what it is. Results are what counts.
Yep.
So when do we get stuck in that strategy loop? And I think it's a great question. And
I think it is because I'll say I've been there so many times. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Where it's like I go on this mission so I found, just watch the YouTube video and they had some great idea. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that. So go digging into it. I'm like, hold on. Well, why am I even adding this? I don't even need this right now. But you just, you fall in love with the.
Like you watch a 10-minute video, 10 minutes. The next 7 hours and 50 minutes should be filled with productivity on that video.
Yeah.
But then it's 8:00, you watch a video. At 10, you're still watching videos.
Yes.
Right? Like it's and so think of that for a second. An hour and 50 minutes of lost productivity. We know if we lose 30 minutes a day just in the BS around the water cooler, it's 2.5 weeks of productivity at the end of the year. 2.5 full weeks of productivity at the end of the year. Yeah. So we lose almost like over half a month at the end of the year of productivity. And again, this is just like, and when I say lost productivity, I'm talking, standing at the water cooler and and all of a sudden, oh man, 30 minutes is gone. Sorry, I got to go back. We think it's productive, but if we're there for a specific reason, a specific goal, it's not productive, right? It's like what we talked about last week or whatever. When you go to the gym and you spend 3 hours at the gym, you're going for social. You're not going for the result. right? Because if you were going for the result, you would have already had your after workout shake and all that kind of stuff and all the things that lead up to that result, whether it be bulking up, whether it be getting stronger, blah, 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 whatever. You can go into a million different things.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it let's talk about first part. What does strategy mean to you?
I mean, it's a lot of, to me, it means just any little tip, trick, or anything, you know. So right here, this is a strategy that Grant Cardone teaches. BTSU. BTSU. Write it on everything. So, and it stands for beat the sun up. And that's what I use to trigger myself. Like, hey, I got to beat the sun up. And so, you know, that's the whole idea of waking up at 5 o'clock. That's a strategy.
Okay. Can I ask you this then?
Yeah.
What do you do when you beat the sun up? See, this is the second part is, does it hurt or does it help? No, really, does it hurt or help? So beat the sun up is one strategy. I get it, because you're up before everyone else and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what you do with that time matters.
Bingo. Yes, exactly. So the strategy itself, and you have to, and that's where, I have on my calendar, I could show it, but yeah, it's scheduled from 5 a.m. till 8 a.m. I have an hour block every single one.
Okay, so again, the overall strategy is beat the sun up.
The
strategy inside that strategy, or the processes inside that strategy, or the moves inside that strategy, then are productive to help you start the day at a red line.
Yeah, just helps me win the day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how can it help and how can it hurt? See, here's the big thing: is that strategy you're using really the strategy that's going to help you?
Correct.
Right? We're all individual. Maybe it helps Grant, but we're all individual. So does it help or hurt you? And
and for me, it helps because it keeps me from. I'm a night owl, so it keeps me from wanting to be a night owl or up working late. I feel I'm a lot more productive. Again, I'm not trying to my views on anybody, but
you actually touched on something there, and I'd like you to continue that thought. You're a lot more productive. What?
In the morning. Okay.
So
mornings. At night,
I'm glad
nothing good happens after 9 o'clock. I believe that completely.
Okay. So I believe that because I'm a very productive, like by 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm not as productive as I was. I feel for me, it's that creativity slide. For me, it's that rejuvenation has slidden in the afternoons. But some people, right? So again, this is where the strategy comes in. Some people would try that strategy, be up before sunset, and it'd be an absolute mess where they're better to work until 2:30 in the morning and sleep till 8. Right? So this is what I mean by strategies, right? Like all these books we have, DJ, all these books we listen to, all these YouTube videos we listen to. Bob Proctor, the late great Bob Proctor, he was my first, Norman Vincent Peale was the first kind of personal development person I ever listened to when my dad gave me The Power of Positive Thinking. But Bob Proctor was my first kind of coach. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, Dan, here's the thing when it comes to this information, to all information. You got to take it in. You got to mull it around. You got to say to yourself, will it work for me or not? He goes, here's the thing. People, when they get into this personal development space, they think every single thing a personal development person says, because it took them from here to here, it'll take them. He goes, it won't. Strategy doesn't work unless it works for you.
Exactly. And what's best for me is not best for everybody else. And
exactly.
You got to figure out what's best for you. Yeah.
Yeah. See, like I found there's a 3 to 8. I kind of like my day is like this and it kind of does this. And then from 8 up, it's like I've worked till 1-2 o'clock in the morning and then I'll sleep till 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, get up, feed the dogs, go back to bed, and I'll get up at 8, shower and be ready for the show by 9. And for me, it was like, okay, that works for me. Yeah. At one point in my life, getting up at 3:33 a.m. every single morning because I had an association with the numbers 333. So for me, it was like that I was getting up at that time every morning. That's what worked for me at that point in my life. And it worked for me for about a year and a half. And then I was never an alarm person. It was like, when I wake up, I wake up.
You got to tell me about the threes, because just the commonality of weird quirks that we do is so funny. But,
Wayne Dyer.
I wake up at 4:48, but I'll tell you why. Go ahead. You tell me the three.
3:33 is from what a course I did with Wayne Dyer. 3:33 was kind of the time of the day where you're most connected to the universe. Is 3:33. So what he did is he said, like, put your feet on the floor and wait for the universe to give you that new idea, to give you that dream, that vision. So I used to get up. I used to kind of sit there for a second and just, then I'd get up and I'd meditate. And then I would kind of go about my morning, whatever I had to do. If I had articles to write, if I had strategy to put down, if I had graphics to do or websites to build or whatever it would be. But it was that creative side. And for me, it's quiet. Like at that point, the kids were still in school. So it was like, when they get up, you got to take them to school, and then they get up and have breakfast. It was like, they weren't self-sufficient yet back then. So like kind of what you're going through, right? Like your family needs you when they get up. You can't be sitting there in your office with the door closed. You got to actually go out and do your duties as a parent. So anyway, so that was the 3:33. But what I did is I allowed, for lack of a better term, I allowed the universe to wake me up. Mm-hmm. And that was a strategy that worked for me for quite a while. Mm-hmm. But it's funny how a strategy that works. But it does. I mean, life changes. Yeah. What we do changes. The desire for what we do changes. The new vision, like you accomplish a goal. Like so perfect example was I realized a couple of things by losing a company, right? So my company was $37 million. We were doing a business. We started in 2005, and by 2008, we were 37 million. Yeah. And the deal was 30 million in business. That was the goal in 2005. That's what I saw in my head in 2005. Yeah. And in probably, so it'd be like, I'm going to say late, which would be like September 2007. I remember vividly because I got out of my car and there was 7 steps, and then you kind of turn left and go into a door, and then there's 13 steps upstairs. And since 2005, I had dreamt that as I'm about to reach for the first door, I go up the 7 steps, and as I go reach for the first door, my business partner pulls in. And at the time I was dreaming it, his vehicle was black, but he had a white Cadillac at that time, a white Cadillac sedan, and this was a black truck. And like 3 months before this happened, he bought a black Escalade. Okay. So I was like, okay, here we go. So now I'm starting to see him. Okay, here we go. Here's it's happening. It's coming. And I turn the corner and I hear the tires come in, and it was like the Matrix deja vu all over again, where I turned around and he was pulling in, and I stopped, and everything in me went, we did it. We just hit 30 million. And he gets out of the car. He goes, you'll never believe this. He goes, the P&Ls just came in. We did it. We're 31 million. And I looked at him and I was just like, yes, right? And big celebration time. But you know what the biggest issue was? And this is what I've come to realize, 10 years later. So 2009, 19. Yeah. So like 12, 13 years later. At that point, I didn't see 50 million. I didn't see 100 million. I didn't see anything beyond 30. So my strategy to see the 30, to have the vision, the things I put in place, the strategy was helping me get to 30. But that same strategy killed me to go beyond. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, but so here's the thing is, they often say, if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a goal, you're wandering aimlessly. Like you're a wandering generality, as Napoleon Hill said, right?
Oh, yeah. Zig Ziglar says that all the time too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so for me, it's Zig Ziglar. Napoleon Hill says wanderer or something, or
wandering generality, I think.
Yeah, something. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like you're lost, right?
You are completely.
You come into work. There's no real. Here's the mission. Here's the goal. Here's the highway I'm going down. What do I need? I need fuel in my car. I need snacks. I need sunglasses. I need this. I need windshield wiper fluid. Like you don't have any of the supplies you need if you don't know where you're going. And so what happened? I realized after I say. because it was my ego. It was, 2008 hit, the economy collapsed, and it was my ego with the whole screw you, you don't, I've been busting my balls for you for this long, that whole thing happened. But I go back to the basics and I say, from a strategy perspective, if I saw 100 million, would I have changed my tune and said, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, customer, what do we need to do to help you get past this so we can see, you know what I mean? And it's a big question. I think it's a question we all need to ask ourselves, because as we've talked about it the last couple of weeks on Data Day Wednesday, we're heading into that area. Like, as a salesperson, if you don't get more strategic in what you do, if you don't get dead set on this is the process, I'm not going to lose a follow-up. I got to plug all my holes in my sales sequence. If you do not do this, you will lose over the next 12 months, 100%, because it's turning that route again. Right. And so for me, it was that strategy actually kept me locked because I wasn't open to a new strategy. Does that make sense? I hope that story
absolutely. No, it makes total sense.
So to get to 30 million, it helped. And we even went all the way up to 37. So we were on our way. But I think what was happening is all of the ramping up I did to get to 30, that was the overflow. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to get to 30, you got to have 60 or 90 million dollars in the kitty to get to 30, because things happen, people fall off, you didn't qualify properly, like all these other things that we talk about. But I think, I honestly, when I go back and I truly sit down and think about it with zero like expectations, like just truly think about it, right? There's a difference between thinking about it, saying, well, yeah, I should have done that, or I could, it's like, okay, what really happened? And kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle. I realized it was a strategy issue. In the end, it was a strategy issue, because I think if I had a strategy, and again, I could be totally wrong. I'm guessing here, because it was like 6 years later that I finally realized this, right? For almost probably, for probably 3 years, I thought it was everyone else's fault, which is crazy, because I was an owner of the company. So it's no one else's fault. It all lands on me. So it was like, can you really pinpoint it? But I believe now, had I stopped and had that strategy, okay, how do we do 100? We hit 30. How do we do 100? And then how do we do 200?
Well, I think you nailed something. I mean, guys, if there's anybody who has hit a plateau, has hit somewhere, I think that is the universe, the whatever the situation is telling you. Maybe you need to find a new strategy, because I think certain strategies will take you to a certain point, but that Apple business we were thinking of buying, I mean, we figured out after doing all the research, they reached 3 million in business, but where they're at now, that's kind of the top. You would have to new strategy, invest a lot more money and a lot more to get to that next level. And that's the whole adding a new strategy or adding something else. And I think you hit it on the head. Your strategy got you to 30, but it didn't take you above that.
Well, I mean, you look at that Apple thing, for example, right? So I think we talked about where we were talking, and I said, well, what about adding like an apple pie mix thing, where you go out every morning bright and early, and all the apples that fall before they get destroyed, you pick them up, you take the good ones, and you chop them all up, and you create bags of apple pie mix. So now people come in and buy pre-made apple pie mix, and you sell the pastry, and so literally all they do is go bang bang, and it's like a homemade pie. But to do that, it's the labor, it's the machines, it's everything. And where is that ROI going to pan out? And so there is a multitude of different ways. I mean, you can take the old apple trees and sell them as apple wood, where people can smoke food with them and that kind of stuff. Like there's ways you can take that thing and build it, but it's only as big as the orchard.
Exactly.
Right. So I agree with you. I understand. And you wouldn't probably, I mean, again, I shouldn't say probably, but it would take a lot of creativity to get that, if they were maxed out at 3, to get it to 5, 6, or 10 million in business.
Exactly.
And then, but then here comes another question: is at what point does it become you've bought yourself a job?
Yes, exactly.
This is the one thing with business is, when do you have a company as opposed to buying yourself a job? It's a big question. And that's a strategy as well. So the strategy is you work in the business. So you're part of the company. We're going to be bringing a gentleman on. I finally had a conversation with a gentleman on Friday. One of the most amazing people I've ever had a talk with. His company just reached $1 billion. And he says, Dan, here was his strategy. I would do what it take to get to $1 billion. I tried not to miss any of my kids' stuff growing up and everything. My kids in the business, we did $1 billion. He says, and my wife and I had a plan. When the company hit $1 billion, I would take a step back. And he goes, so I'm going to be an owner still, but I'm getting rid of my salary. I said, oh, you're not working? He goes, no, I'm taking a step back. He goes, here's the thing. All the way till we hit $1 billion, I was in the office every day. Okay. He goes, I'm a working owner. He goes, and I know that. I know I was in the business, not on the business. He goes, but when I take a step back, I don't think it's fair to my other partners and everyone else in the company that I still take that money. $1 billion company. And this is the mindset of the owner.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, like you are like remarkable. He goes, well, Dan, he goes, listen, I lead by example. During all of the issues we had and as we were going, I was on the front lines all the time. I was like, that's pretty darn cool. You don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm this age now. He says, I want to enjoy it. I want to go out and I want to enjoy it. He goes, but trust me, there's still deals I want to close. There's still things I want to do. He goes, so I'm asking.
He hasn't stopped, but yeah.
But he goes, I'm asking my partners not to get rid of my office.
Really?
Yeah, because he goes, I want to come. Because he loves it.
He just loves it. He just loves it. Yeah. And just loves it.
Pretty cool, eh?
Wow, when you got a passion for what you're doing, I mean, that's when you're in the right space.
Yeah. Lisa says I love threes. Preet, how are you this morning? 3 a.m. time. I've had a lot of spiritual teachers at the age of less than 10 years old. I was also taught firsthand by my mother and father, also being raised of Muslim descent, which is the main faith belief. Loved, amazing. Love this talk. So this 3 a.m. thing is something to look at. I've done so much strategy over the last 1.5 years. I'm somewhat lost. Went to my core, went through several pads of paper, and boom, I'm nowhere near where I want it to be, but every day getting closer and has nothing to do with money. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. Yeah. I kind of went through. We have the same past year and a half experience. So
yeah. And, and listen to what Jeff says at the beginning. I've done so much strategy over the first 1.5 years. I was somewhat lost, went to my core, went through several pads of paper, and boom. So, and Jeff, I hope I'm saying this right, because
would you say you were on strategy overload, Jeff? Because that's what it sounds like, right?
But I think he was looking for the strategy.
Looking for it? Okay.
So what I read by that, and Jeff, share which one it is. See, what I'm reading into that is maybe let's watch this strategy. Okay, how is it going to help me? Next strategy, how is it going to help me? How is it going to help me? Yeah. And then maybe Jeff chose a piece of each of them, or all of a sudden his strategy that worked would have come into his play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's how it works. Where if you don't get glued to something. Like Rico once told me, he said, Dan,
you can't be stuck.
Here's the thing about choice. You got to choose to move like water. Water will always find its goal.
Finds the
every single second.
Easiest path of least resistance too.
But it always finds it. Yes, and by the path of least resistance. So he says, if you're here and your goal's here, if your path takes you like this, who cares? Of course, the best possible scenario is this. But if you're here, he goes, these are all just a series of choices. And as you get better, your choice goes, and then you know what I mean? Like, so it's like this is how we have to move and flow with what we do. And trust me, my friend, like, we're starting something big, and it's rolling. And this snowball is a boulder.
You saying my friend right there triggered. So I can't, if anybody knows what Bruce Lee said in this, but I just remember my friend, he says it at the end, but something about be water, my friends. And so it's some quote about, but it's Bruce Lee and talks about be water. But yeah.
And there's another great Bruce Lee one out there too, that we can, before you call out for the end of the show.
Yeah.
He was speaking with someone, and the person came in. It's like, oh yeah, I've done this. And he's pouring him tea, and the tea is overflowing. He goes, hey, wait, man, you're overflowing the tea. He goes, it's because you have so much knowledge. There's no room for my knowledge for you.
Wow.
And that taught me about releasing.
Yep.
And again, I bring it back to Bob Proctor, when he said, mull it over.
Amazing, man.
Will it work for you?
Mm.
Because it works for one person, don't mean it's going to work for you.
Yes.
Will it work for you? You know, and this is where I truly believe we as individuals, right? Success means something to you, DJ. It's not the same thing it means to me.
Yes,
We're all a little bit different. Are there core elements of what we see as greatness and success for all of us? For sure. There's core elements of everything. But it means something different. And not only that, at a certain age, it means something. At another age, it means something else.
Yes, I
right?
agree. Yeah.
And I can tell you, I remember sitting with an owner of a company, with $700 million company. And I said, so how are things? He goes, you know, Dan, it sucks. I have no friends. Every single friend that I get wants something.
Mm.
So what do you think his wants were? Genuine friendship. He's got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
He you know, he's at a point where he can buy anything. Yeah. He can buy anything he wants. He can do anything he wants. And he's craving friends that don't just want his money.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Tough.
Mm-hmm. It was a whole, okay. So here this is what I was thinking about with Jeff. Oh, I just hit a new note. I hit the wrong button. Jeff says it was a whole collaboration of everything that was written down, then defined and acted on. Yeah. So it wasn't just one, it was like a collaboration of everything. And I think that's where the boom comes from Jeff, because Jeff's big about, oh, there it is. Yep. Now I see it. Right. Yeah, all right, DJ. Actually, I got tons of energy now. I'm jazzed.
I know that was so great, Jeff. I agree. I agree completely. So I went on 12 years of nonstop zig to this, to that, to that. So I had a billion strategies, and I was like, hold on, I got to figure out what works for me. So yes, I agree completely, Jeff.
Have you ever seen that You, Me, and Dupree?
What's that?
You, Me, and Dupree, the movie You, Me, and Dupree with Owen Wilson. Yeah. And at the end, you have to get DJ-ized. Right, where he's talking about where it's you, it's the individual you.
It's gotta be you.
You just reminded me of that, because you were like, I got this, and all of a sudden I went, oh yeah,
yes,
it was a DJ-erism.
Like, this is it. Yep. Hey, totally agree. Jeff threw up one quote real quick, or a message. What was important now might not have been important 10 years ago. Yes.
Yeah.
That changes. Yeah. Hey, listen, guys, if you think of our life in seasons, like sports, we're always changing. But that's where we are as humans. But thank you guys for all the comments, for everything, for joining us live, and for
being the best damn audience on any live show there is.
My gosh, yeah, you guys.
Sorry, all y'all that are listening that have live shows, but we got.
Stop it! Stop it! Yes, we do have the best. You guys really are amazing. Every guest we have that comes on that does have a live show, they say it. So you guys, seriously, we can't thank you enough. Thank you to American Logistics, Centurion Trucking for making this possible, and just thank you guys for joining us every day. If you're catching it live later on after a replay, like and subscribe down below. Sales Chatter Live or Dan Deegan on YouTube, so you get notified. And I don't know if this one, I mean, we went so many different directions. I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, I'm hoping you keep your streak, brother, because I think we're at like 132 days of you on a streak.
Yeah, so. Albert Einstein. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them.
No, for sure. That's so in line. Yes, sir. That is so in line. That's good. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Big week this week. Y'all are going to love it.
Do big things, y'all.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.